You ever wake up before dawn? Not because you want to, but because trouble just can't wait for business hours. That's how it started for me. Engines humming outside my window at 5:37 a.m. and not a single rooster in sight. My feet hit the floor before my brain was awake, and there she was. Karen in all her self-appointed HOA glory Jeep parked sideways across my gravel drive like she was defending the Alamo hazard lights, blinking phone in one hand and clipboard in the other, already live streaming her latest drama for her loyal 2 fans. Picture this. My spring feed shipment is lined up bumper-to-bumper, truckers stuck horns, blaring cows bellowing in the pasture because their breakfast is late, and there's Karen shouting about neighborhood character and zoning violations. Diesel in the air coffee burning my hand because I set it down too hard, and right then I realized I was done playing by her rules. You know what I mean? Something in me just snapped. All the fines, the threats, the letters taped to my gate, it all led to this moment. I owned a combine that could swallow her Jeep and spit out the bumper. I stomped across the yard in my boots while the sun crept up over the hills, gold streaks lighting up the pasture, and Karen turned that camera on me with her favorite face, that righteous fury she practiced in the mirror. "Commercial vehicles aren't allowed before 9. I've got the sheriff on speed dial," she screamed, and one of my drivers, Louis Solid Guy, leaned out his window and hollered, "Lady, move your car." But Karen just smirked, said she'd move when the board approved a permit, knowing full well she'd tabled everyone I ever filed. The animals pressed against the rails, restless, hungry, and I felt the months of prep hanging by a thread. Lose this delivery and I'm out thousands maybe short on feed for the whole season. She knew exactly where to hit me. And while she kept lecturing her phone, I thought back to when this circus started, her showing up 3 days after I bought the ranch, handing me a welcome packet that was just a stack of violations, fining me for parking my own tractor, running HOA meetings like a bad reality show, accusing me of wrecking property values while she snapped secret photos for more complaints. There were nails scattered on my drive letters about livestock smells. County inspectors just happening to show up unannounced. It was always something with her. By now, the whole neighborhood was peeking from behind curtains, phones out, treating my life like their morning soap opera. I took a deep breath, tried to negotiate. Karen just laughed. This icy sound said, "I brought it on myself." That's when my mind went to the combine in my shed, gleaming under the light sleeping giant. I didn't say another word, just walked to the shed, boots crunching oil and hay in the air, laid my hand on the fender, felt that cold metal, and knew it was waiting for this very moment. I fired it up, diesel engine roared like a thunderstorm, and when Karen heard it, she dropped her phone for the first time all morning. I drove that beast out the drivers, cheering one even filming, and rolled it straight up to her Jeep, 10 feet from her bumper, idling like a dragon. Told her as loud as I could, "Move your Jeep or watch me do it for you." Karen's eyes darted, lips trembling, but instead of backing down, she pointed her phone, screaming, "I wouldn't dare." Guess what I dared? Push that throttle forward, combine. Surging, the drivers went dead silent except for one muttering, "Holy hell." Karen stumbled, still filming, but I cut the engine inches from her bumper. Let her and the whole neighborhood see I was done being nice. And then, like it was scripted, the sheriff's cruiser rolled over the hill. Lights on, siren off. The deputy stepped out, took it all in, combine Jeep. Karen flailing my trucks, waiting. He checked my paperwork, looked at Karen, and flat out asked why she was blocking the road. She stammered about safety, but the deputy just shook his head, waved the trucks through. That was the crack in her armor the moment her authority snapped. The birds were singing, engines humming, neighbors clapping, and for a minute I felt the weight lift. But I knew this was only the first round. You don't spend months being harassed by someone like Karen and expect her to back down just because she lost once. Let me back up a second, because this feud didn't start with engines or paperwork. The land used to belong to an old cattleman, a guy the HOA barely tolerated. After he passed, the subdivision crept up and Karen got herself crowned president for life. From the day I moved in, she treated me like a threat, showed up with fake smiles and fine print hunting for reasons to keep me in line. I tried to play nice, went to meetings, explained my plans, but all I got were loaded questions about noise and trucks. She'd find a bylaw about unsightly equipment issue, a fine threaten the county, then double down every time I didn't roll over. When I brought in goats to clear brush standard practice, she filed a complaint, called them dangerous. County inspector showed up clipboard ready but found nothing wrong. That's when I realized Karen would rather burn down the neighborhood than admit she'd lost control. She stacked the HOA board with her cronies, rewrote the bylaws, and started targeting my deliveries, banning trucks before 9 a.m. I tried arguing, she just slammed the gavel, cut the mic, lied in the minutes. It was all about power. So I started fighting back quietly, built alliances with the truckers, the sheriff, even the county clerk. Installed cameras, saved every letter, built a binder labeled Karen's Greatest Hits. I started prepping for the day she'd go too far, and boy did she. One morning my gate was glued shut, fresh stack of notices taped to the fence. I spent hours cutting them down while she watched from her car. That's when I decided no more reacting. I was going to outplan her. Got a lawyer, learned my rights, and waited. Winter passed, spring rolled in, and the next big shipment came up on the calendar. I told Luis Bring popcorn show's about to start. The combine was polished, fueled, ready. When the blockade came, I was ready too. That first showdown broke her mystique, but it also sent her into overdrive. Suddenly she's flooding the county with complaints, fire marshal, health department, zoning board. Every time I had paperwork and coffee ready, watch them leave, shaking their heads. Meanwhile, she's posting on Facebook calling me a tractor menace. Some neighbors bought it, some didn't, but more and more started waving at me, dropping by with pies, saying they were tired of Karen's crusade. She tried everything, blockaded me again, this time with 2 SUVs, cones, a fake neighborhood safety patrol. One of her sidekicks tried directing traffic with a stop sign, like he was in a parade. But I had the cameras rolling, paperwork ready, sheriff on speed dial. I warned them, move or you're on the hook for any losses. One by one, her allies cracked, peeled out, left her stranded. I fired up the combine again, eased it forward, and watched her reverse into a ditch. Honestly, it was almost comical if it hadn't been so nuts. That was the twist, you know. The day her own people bailed, the community clapped, and Karen realized she'd lost the crowd. After that, county officials stopped taking her calls seriously. Inspectors laughed about her behind her back, and even her HOA board started leaking me info. But Karen wasn't done. Oh no. She filed restraining orders, complained to the state, even flew a drone over my pasture trying to catch something on video. I responded with evidence, countersued, won in court. Her reputation tanked, the board turned on her, and eventually a laminated sign popped up. HOA under new management. Karen's Jeep disappeared. Her house went dark, and just like that, one last breath and she was gone. We held a little party at the ranch. Luis, the sheriff, neighbors who used to side-eye me, now shaking my hand. The combine strung with lights turned from a weapon to a symbol of community. Even the old-timers stopped by with egg-swapping stories about standing up to bullies. I learned a lot from all this. Not just about bylaws and machinery, but about patience planning and what it means to belong somewhere. Turns out the best revenge isn't winning a feud, it's living well enough to outlast it and building something no amount of paperwork or pettiness can take away. So tell me, have you ever had to fight for your right to live in peace or dealt with someone who just couldn't let it go? Drop your story below. Let's hear what justice looks like where you live. And hey, if you think standing your ground is worth it, give this story a share. This land, this life, it's ours to protect, one dawn at a time.